The world felt heavy. A thick grey blanket covered the sky. This was not cloud, it was smoke, it was the breath of factories. It was the dust from dying lands. People walked with faces turned down. They tried not to breathe too deeply. The air tasted of ash and chemicals. Children coughed a dry, rasping sound. Their parents worried. This was the air they had to live with. Rivers that once danced with light now crawled. They were dark and oily. Fish floated belly up on the surface. Plastic bottles and bags choked the banks. No one swam in these rivers anymore. They were veins of poison, not life. The water carried the sickness of the land. Where forests once stood tall, there were now stumps, endless rows of them like tombstones. The earth was bare and cracked. Animals had lost their homes. The vibrant chorus of the wild was fading. Life had become a struggle for many. The planet was groaning under the weight of human mistakes. Amidst the gloom lived a woman named Elara. She was not a leader. She was not a scientist. She was an ordinary person. She worked in a small library. She saw the dust settle on the books. She saw the sad faces of the children. She read stories of green worlds. These stories felt like dreams. She remembered a time when the sky was bluer. She remembered when the trees were many. This memory burned within her. One day, Elara stood by a choked stream, a plastic bag snagged on a dead branch. She watched a bird try to drink from a dirty puddle. Something inside Elara snapped. It was a feeling of deep pain. It was also a spark of anger. She could not just watch anymore. She could not just feel sad. The silence of inaction felt too loud. A new feeling started to grow in her heart. It was determination. She decided she had to try. Even a small action was better than none. Her journey began with that single, powerful thought. Elara started small. She began in her own small backyard. It was mostly barren, like so much of the land. She cleared away the litter. She dug into the hard, dry soil. Her hands became sore. Sweat dripped down her face. She planted a single tree sapling. It was a tiny thing, full of fragile hope. She watered it carefully each day. She protected it from the harsh wind. This small act felt good. It felt right. Next, Elara turned to the little stream near her home. She put on old gloves. She took a sturdy bag. She started picking up the plastic bottles. She pulled out tangled fishing lines. She cleared away the rotting waste. It was slow, dirty work. Some people walked by and stared. They thought she was strange. But she kept going. Each piece of trash removed was a small victory. Slowly, a few people noticed the difference. The patch of ground around Elara's sapling looked a little healthier. The stream bank near her efforts was a bit cleaner. An elderly neighbor came out and quietly started to help her pick up litter. More small changes followed. The path was not easy. Elara faced many challenges. Some people laughed at her efforts. They said the problem was too big. They said one person, or even a few, could not change anything. The factories will keep polluting, they would say. The trees will keep falling. Their words were like cold water. They tried to dampen her spirit. It was hard to hear such doubt. It made her question herself sometimes. She tried to talk to local officials. She wrote letters. She attended meetings. Often she was met with polite smiles. But there was little real action. Some were tied to big companies. These companies caused much of the pollution. They did not want to change. Elara felt small and powerless against such forces. It was like shouting against a strong wind. Her voice seemed to get lost, but she learned that perseverance was key. Elara's steady efforts began to create ripples. More people saw the changes in their small corner of the world. They saw the growing trees. They tasted the fresh vegetables from the community garden. They saw that action, however small, brought results. The initial group of helpers grew. Children eagerly joined in planting days. Teenagers organized cleanup drives along the river. The whispers of green became a louder chorus. Hope was becoming contagious. The growing movement started to get noticed. Local newspapers wrote stories about Elara and her community. Other neighborhoods began to copy their initiatives. People started asking more questions. They demanded more from their leaders. The pressure on polluting companies increased. Some officials, seeing the public support, began to listen. Small policy changes started to happen. New recycling programs were launched. Protections for local green spaces were discussed. The tide was slowly turning. Elara never became famous, but she became a symbol of hope in her community. She showed that one person, armed with determination, could ignite change. Her first small sapling was now a young tree. The journey to heal the earth is long, but every single action matters.